Okay, so good evening, guys. Welcome back. We will continue with our AWS networking session. So today is AWS networking Day-7 session. Okay, and guys, from today onwards, like we will be getting into more into our AWS networking services. So today we will be starting a very important topic is VPC. Okay, we call it a virtual private cloud. Okay. So guys, before we get into today's topic, like today's discussion, let us try to understand what we did on day 6. Day six, I remember we did most on subnetting, right? Subnetting, we did it, and we just try to understand like how we can design any kind of the networking, right? When we are provided some kind of information about the number of devices what you connect and the whole building structure, like how many floors are there, right? Based on that we can able to derive with the number of subnets what we will be using, right? And also we need to choose the particular IP4 private IP address, right? That's all based on the number of devices what you connect actually. And also like whatever the CIDR notification what you get, right? Based on the CIDR notification only, we'll be able to choose a particular IP4 networking, right? So IP4 networking range we are going to choose so that we can design the complete network. So that's what we had understood in the last session, right? So whatever we did from last 2 or 3 session, guys, that will be very important because we learned about what is the networking all about, what is public IP, private IP. We understood something, and also like we learned about like how to come up with the subnet mask, as well as finally we also did a subnetting. So these are the very, very fundamentals or the core concept what is required for us to understand any kind of a networking thing from now onward. So whatever we do, whatever we try to understand from now, whatever the basic we learned, everything will be used here now when we are learning the AWS network services actually. Okay, so guys, we will start with today with the AWS VP service. Very, very important. Without the VPC, you cannot do anything in your AWS cloud actually. Okay. Now the thing is that, so the first question comes to that, what is this VPC is all about? So VPC is one of the service actually. Okay. Okay. So whenever a user, suppose assume that I'm an end user, I'm a AWS user account, I'm a AWS user, and I want to create the virtual machine, VM. We say VM, virtual machine. So virtual machine in AWS we can create with the help of a EC2 service. So the service by name EC2 service, with the help of a EC2 service, we will be able to create the virtual machine. Now, whenever I want to create a virtual machine, I cannot create a virtual machine without the VPC. So VPC have to be there. Without a VPC, I cannot go and directly create the virtual machine. So the virtual machines can be created only when there is a VPC available in your region actually, right? So now the concept is that whenever we are trying to do any stuff, like whenever I want to create any kind of a services in your AWS account, majorly we say that first important thing is that actually the whole networking has to be set up actually. The whole networking is something like you need to create some boundary. So you need to create some boundary. That boundary, the network boundary, we need to create some network boundary. And that network boundary is nothing but your VPC, we say. We say as a VPC. So in AWS, we know that we have so many regions having. We have so many regions, right? Like for example, we have Mumbai region. I'm just taking like AP-South-1A, AP-South-1. Similarly, we have a North Virginia region. Like that way, we are having so many regions, right? So every region has its own VPC. Every region has its own default VPC. It means that when you create an account, when you try to log into your AWS account, and whenever you enter into any of your other region, by default, a VPC will always be available. They provide, so AWS itself will provide a default VPC. Right, so it will be a very small VPC. It means that it has a smaller range. It means that whenever you want to deploy any kind of a small project actually, or whenever you want to host some few servers, right? Then what happened, we can go with the default VPC, and like we can make use of our requirement. Say for example, when I am teaching in the class, right? Because we are only learning the services, we are doing all kind of a lab exercise, everything for our learning purpose. So there what happened that I will be always be by default VPC, default VPC will be chosen for creating any kind of resource. Right. So for me, I don't need any kind of a big VPC to be created. I don't want all kind of a the bigger VPC where I need to go and deploy some kind of enterprise application. That is not required for me. I'm just doing a small simple experiment purpose. For that, default VPC is enough. So what AWS will give that per region, every region a default VPC will be given. Like for example, APFN, South FN, Mumbai region, a default VPC will be given. Northern Virginia, default VPC will be given. Oregon, a default VPC will be given. And also Japan region, Osaka or Tokyo, a default VPC is given. So every region, what happened, a default VPC will be given for it actually. So along with the default VPC, there are some other services are there which are given along with the VPC. Like for example, security group, one of the service we called as SG, that also it is provided to you, right? For example, and also like route tables, a default route table is also given, right? And the route table association. What is it? We'll all discuss later, right? NAT gateway, not NAT gateway, sorry, internet gateway, IGW is also given. A default IGW is also given. Like that, along with the VPC, there are many other services are that by default it comes with it whenever we are creating a VPC. It means that whenever the VPC is there, even many of the other services also have to be created for you to set up the whole network actually, right? So that's how, right? So now the thing is that guys, like when we are taking normal networking, say for example, you say that Rajesh, I'm having some 4 5 system with me, like it is like a bare machine I'm having, or else I'm having some physical servers actually like this. I'm having some physical servers like this. Assume that I'm having some 5 laptops or 5 desktops actually like this. Like this I'm having. So what you say that actually that whenever I want to do a communication between all these devices, I need to make sure that all these devices or all this desktop machine have to come in one particular network range actually. So what we do basically, like we will go and we'll try to create some big network range. We are going to create it. It means that basically we will try to make this come into some network actually, right? And then what happened, right? So for that, what we basically choose, we try to choose some kind of a CID range. We'll take it some CID range, which is nothing but the private IP CID range we're going to take. And then what happened, right? Like basically, once you have this, the whole thing. So what you do that, we will try to connect with some kind of routers here in between or switches. So this will be kind of a hub you can call. It could be a router or switch actually, right? And basically what happened, right? And what happened, right? You will all connect to a physical connectivity between all the system to this hub actually like this. This is a normal way what we do actually. Like suppose if you're having any kind of a systems or servers where you want to interconnect that everything between these devices, everything, like we do such kind of a simple topology, we take it up and we'll try to set it up like this actually. Okay, so something like this, we try to create some kind of a topology. Now the thing is that actually, guys, we will be using a lot of hubs. Like it could be a router, it could be switches, or it could be routers, or it could be bridges, or it could be a simple gateways. We will be using any kind of a devices. So as soon as you connect all these devices, everything. So what happened right here? You are trying to create some kind of a virtual network. You are trying to create that we call as a VXLAN, virtual LAN network. We are creating actually. Right. So it means that you need to make sure that you're trying to do a communication between all these devices. So you'll have some common kind of a network, right? Where what happen, all these devices can able to reach each other, and whatever the protocol we are using for communicating with the devices with each and every systems. Okay, that protocol also will be that would be some kind of a common protocol which will be used for communicating between one device to other device, and also that protocol should also be supported by your connectors, like it could be a router or it could be switches, right? So basically we might choose either HTTP communication or HTTPS communication, or else basic TCP IP communication protocol we will be using for to communicate between these devices actually, right? And so this is something like a common device. Say, for example, tomorrow you say that, okay, Rajesh, in this CADA range, I want to divide some network actually, where whatever I am dividing the network, that network has to be divided, and we are creating a smaller network between it. So, for example, this two system like server one and server two, we want to make into a separate network like this. Like for example, these two devices have to be in a separate network. Then again, what happened, guys? You can create a subnetting, and where you can make sure that only these two devices will be part of that particular network. Actually, that we call it as a subnetting. Actually, so we can do either you can make all the devices to be under the same one CADA range so that all can connect each other, or else you say that no, I want to divide many of the machines to different networks. Okay, so that for their own requirement, what they do, they try to create a subnets, and then like they can even do intercommunication between from subnet to subnet, right? You can even able to do a communication also, right? So this kind of a things also we do. So this is generally what we do in our in-house actually. Like whenever we are setting some kind of a network within our premises, like office premises or within our data center, we do such things. And there are many things comes into the picture, guys, like this. It's I'm just telling you very high level. Like for example, you might come across even setting up the firewalls actually, right? You'll be setting up the firewall actually, right? Firewall will be you will be setting the firewalls like for the virtual machine. Under the virtual machine you'll be setting the firewalls. You will be setting up firewalls under your subnets actually. So like that, many kind of a firewalls and all also you will set it actually, right? So whatever we are doing in the on-premises or locally within the organization, so this is the same thing. What can we do? Same thing in the cloud actually. Can you do the same thing within a cloud actually? Yes. The answer is that actually you can do it with the help of a VPC, virtual private cloud. So virtual private cloud you can equate to same as a VXLAN actually. Virtual LAN, whatever you create in your on-premise, right? It is same thing like a it's same thing like a whatever we have VXLAN, right? Same thing in AWS cloud, we have something known as a VPC, virtual private cloud. Without a virtual private cloud, you cannot create any of the resource. Like you cannot create a virtual machine, you cannot create it. VM, you cannot create it without the VPC. And there are many other resources are there. Without the VPC, you cannot create it actually. Even suppose if you are setting up the security groups, without the VPC, you cannot create a security group. Same thing, you want to create something like a route table, you want to create an ad gateway, you want to create a transit gateway. Without the VPC, you cannot set up all these services at all. So VPC have to be there. So the first entry point of your project is the VPC networking only. Am I clear, sir? So now the thing is that actually, guys, when we are creating a VPC, the VPC are region based actually. VPC are region based. It means that basically we take one region, right, and then we create a VPC over there, right? Consider, for example, I'm just taking an example. So, guys, today I'm going to use a lot of diagrams and all to make you understand, right? Assume that this is your AWS cloud. This is your AWS cloud, and you consider that you are in one region. Like for example, if you are in a Mumbai region, right, and the code is AP hyphen south hyphen one. This is the region which you're having, and this is your you are in under your AWS cloud actually, right? So we know that in the Mumbai region, we know that there are three availability zones are there. There are three availability zones like this. Correct, sir? There are three availability zones are there, and we know that what are the availability zone? It is nothing but AP South 1A, 1B, and 1C. AP South 1A, 1B, and 1C. Okay. Now the question is that you know that this is nothing but your availability zone. We call it as a AZ. We call it as a AZ. So it is like a single data center, right? It's like a single data center where you'll be having hundreds or thousands of servers in the rack, actually, right? This consider it as a data center. AZ means availability zone or nothing but data centers actually. And each and every data center, as we discussed earlier, it has a lot of racks, and every rack has a physical servers which have been installed. So it's not like one or two. There will be hundred and thousands of servers will be there in each and every availability zone. And each and every availability zone, you know that it provides its own power system will be there, its own cooling system will be there. So many resources will be provided for your availability zone, right? And here what is happening is that actually that here you are having a lot of physical servers actually, or not but the physical host machine. See, these are the physical host machine like this. Correct, sir? Physical host machine. Physical host machine or physical host servers are there, right? It's not only one. I'm considering here it is a one actually, but there are hundreds of physical servers will be there in each and every availability zone like this, like this, right? So these are the different availability zone. These are different availability zone, right? Every availability zone will have many of the physical host machine. Am I clear, sir? Now the question comes that Rajesh, I want to create a virtual machine in the AWS account, okay, in any one of the region. Say for example, like you say that I want to create a virtual machine in the APFN South FN1, which is a Mumbai region actually, right? Now the point is here is that actually that your virtual machine will be created in any one of the region. Say for example, if the virtual machine is created here, the virtual machine will get created here under this APFN South FN1B region actually, right? So now the thing is that actually guys, when we are creating a virtual machine, we can select okay, under which region I want to create the virtual machine, okay, under which availability zone I can create a virtual machine. Like that you have the control over that. When you are creating a virtual machine, you can give all this information, like I want to create under APF and South FM 1, okay, under that I want to create my virtual machine under APF and South 1B, okay. But here what happened, under this APF and South of 1B, there are so many servers, are the physical servers. Here we cannot choose under which physical server or physical host machine my virtual machine has to be created. That control you don't have it. As an end user, we don't have that control. So there is an algorithm which is running in your AWS. What that algorithm does, that will check like, okay, which physical server where I can go and create this virtual machine, right? So that decision of creating a virtual machine under some physical host is being taken care by your AWS algorithm, right? End user doesn't have control over there, so I cannot choose under which physical host machine the this virtual machine will get created, right? Only I have a parameter of choosing the which region under the which availability zone I can create a virtual machine, right? Am I clear, sir? Right. So now the question comes, if you take one single region actually, like the single availability zone, like for example, if I'm choosing the same thing, APF and South FN 1B, right? So assume that this is my AWS cloud. Sorry, this is the region. What is that? APF and South FN 1. Okay. Under here, what happened? Here, what happened? You are having a one availability zone. What is that availability zone, guys? AP hyphen South hyphen 1P, right? So under this, we know that Rajesh, there is one particular physical host is there. This is my physical host. This is my physical host, right? Where the virtual machines are getting created. Now consider that, okay, there are two users are there. There are two users are there. So I'll take something. I'll choose some user. Guys, 1 minute, guys. I'm getting one call. 1 second. So guys, consider that there are two users are there, right? One is I consider some name. I'll give some name. Let me take some name. I'll take Naresh as a user, one user, and one more user. I'll take something like Suresh is another user. So these are the two users, guys. These are two AWS users actually. These are all AWS users because they have the user account, valid user account is there. So what these two people will do that, these two people who are having their own AWS accounts actually, what Naresh will do that, basically Naresh want to create a virtual machine in the APFN South 1B. Assume that actually he's choosing that I want to create under APFN South 1B. So what Naresh will do basically, Naresh is going to log into the system and he's going to create one virtual machine here. Right, this is a virtual machine where Naresh is going to create under this region. Similarly, Suresh is going to create his virtual machine. He'll also select the same thing. He'll go with the APFN South FN1, that is Mumbai region. In that, he's having APFN South FN1B, which is nothing but the availability zone. Right. So there, what happens? The Suresh is going to create his own machine under the same availability zone. Now consider that your AWS algorithm, it has chosen the same physical host machine to create these two machines actually. Okay, this is Naresh virtual machines, Naresh and Naresh, Naresh machine, and this is the Suresh machine actually. Now, guys, now the question comes, right, whether these two machines, right, are they able to communicate each other or not? Can you tell me, guys?
Yes.
They communicate each other because since they are part of the same host machine, are they able to communicate each other? Can
Mm,
you, Karthik, what is the answer?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes,
Same availability.
yeah, same availability zone. They are able to communicate each other. Now, so in that case, if they are able to communicate each other, is it not a security loophole there? It means that anyone creates it, he'll be able to ping to this machine, right? And again, even Suresh machine will be able to ping to the nearest, right? So if that happens, it's a big security loophole actually. It means that nobody will go with the AWS because they know that there's no security at all, right? So now what happened, right? Like the answer is no, you cannot communicate, right? Yet both have been created under the same physical host, still they both will not be able to communicate each other. Why? Because that Naresh is creating under his own account. He is trying to create a virtual machine in one of the region, under one of the region, in one of the zone. He's trying to create a machine. Yes, it is created. Suresh is also getting. Suresh also is also creating the virtual machine in the same, right, in the same region under the same. Now, how they are not able to communicate each other? Because that while creating it actually, right, Naresh will be creating under his own VPC, under his own VPC, virtual private cloud, like this, under his own VPC, right? And Suresh is going to create the virtual machine under his own VPC. Here, what happened? The VPC differs actually because they are creating from their own account, so they have their different VPC they have created. Under the different VPCs they have created actually. So here what happened? The VPC direct connection, you cannot do a direct connection between, or you cannot communicate between these two VPCs like that. You cannot communicate. Between VPC to VPC, you cannot communicate. Even though they fall under the same physical host, yet they have been isolated with the help of a VPC. So this is what we call it as a VPC actually. Of course, there are many other components which come to the picture, but I'm just saying a very high level because both have been created under their own VPCs, yet they both can't communicate each other. If they communicate each other, then it is a very big security loophole actually. Am I clear, sir? So VPC to VPC communication cannot be done directly, right? So now the thing is, guys, as I said, right, all these days, what happened, right? When I am creating a virtual machine, right? I was creating a virtual machine without even thinking about what is VPC, what is subnet is all about. Directly, I was creating a virtual machine. You have observed that many times, right? We go to a region and we start creating, we launch the instance and we start creating it actually, right? So now what happened when you create it? What happened by default? That region, whatever the VPC is there, right? That we call as a default VPC. So with under the default VPC and under some subnet, what happened, right? Your virtual machine is to get launched actually. So without the VPC, the virtual machine cannot be launched. right? For example, if I go here, like for example, I'll go to my console.aws.amazon.com. Let me quickly log in, guys. Oh God, come on, sorry. I think you'll ask for the authentication. One second, let me check where is my mobile. Yeah, okay. Okay, guys. So now you could see that actually I've logged in. Okay, let me quickly shift to the Mumbai region. Right, under the Mumbai region. So now what happened, like if I want to create a instance, what I'll do, I'll go to the EC2 service. Under the EC2, there is something like launch instance there. Just click on that launch instance and you could give anything. Like here, for example, I can give something like server one, right? And you can select any of the AMI image, come down. Here what happened, that you can create any of the instance types. Say you are considering this as a T3.micro. You'll give the key pair, something like this, batch 2 something, and then you could see that then the networking setting comes. You could see that it is actually taking some default VPC. If you're going to click on the edit, you could see that this is a default VPC it is taking, and you could see the CIDR range is 172.31.0.0/16, right? So here it also giving the name as a default VPC, right? Now, for example, how to verify, how to check it, what is a VPC, what is a default VPC? Like if you go here, if you click on this, here it will show all the services, and here you can search for VPC like this. If you search for VPC, you could see that you are getting the service. Do a right click, open in a new tab, right? Now you could see that, guys, you have got into your VPC dashboard. Here, if you want to check it out, right, you could see that you are having a VPC, and under the Mumbai, there's only one VPC is there. Okay, click on this VPC. And here, if you just scroll down like this, you could see that actually this is the VPC actually. And this is a default VPC, what is provided by your AWS for this Asia Pacific, that is Mumbai region. Now you could see that the state is available. If you scroll this side, it will give you that what is the IPv4 CID range, that is 172.31.0.16. It is nothing but it's a class B IP address which it is providing the CID range. And how do you say this default is VPC is a default VPC, right? If you come this side, can you see here, guys? Can you see here, like default VPC is yes. Oh, it means that yes, this is a default VPC. Okay, so it means that when I'm creating any, when I'm launching any instance, actually, all these days, what happened? It used to choose this default VPC. Can you see here? VPC 05173. If you go here, see 05173 VVV. Yeah, it is to choose some default VPC. This is one VPC which is available actually. Am I clear, sir? Right? This is a default VPC. Now, if you come here, if you choose this default VPC, fine. If you refresh it, yeah, same VPC. If you just expand this, you don't have any VPC apart from this. So default VPC is considered. Okay. Now preferences for the subnet. If you there is something like if you just highlight this or if you expand this, you will get three subnets actually, right? Like these three subnets are there. So this subnet, whatever the naming it is given, you could see that APF and South FN 1A, one subnet, and the other subnet is APF and South FN 1B, and the third one is APF and South FN 1C. So there are three subnets were created under this VPC actually. And again, these are all default subnets actually. And if you come over here, and you could see that there's something like a subnet. If you click on the subnet, you could see that these are the three default subnets. But these three default subnets are created under this default VPC. Now, if you click over here, you will get the VPC ID. So every resource will get an ID. Okay. Here in this case, it is VPC. So VPC ID is getting generated when you're creating a VPC. So if you try to copy this VPC ID and go to the subnet and just try to find out for this VPC ID, what are the subnets? Enter, you could see that these are the three subnets. And you could also see that these three subnets fall under the same VPC, VPC 05173B0. So can you see here? So this subnet falls under the VPC 05173B. The same VPC IDs under that, these three subnets are getting created, right? So you can even make out that this subnet is created under your APFN south of 1A availability zone. This is under APFN south 1B, and this is under APFN south 1C, like this, right? Right? And there are many other informations are there, route table, network ACLs and all. We will discuss it slowly one by one later. But something like, okay, it means that Rajesh, once we have a VPC, we need to have a subnet. Without a subnet also, you cannot create a virtual machine, right? So here what happened, if you're not giving any preference, by default, what your AWS algorithm will do, it will try to take any one of the VPC, available VPC, and it will launch the instance actually, or it will create the instance, right? So here also you're not given any availability zone. It will choose any one of the availability zone and it will create a machine actually, right? So that's how what happened, right? VPC is very much important when you are creating a virtual machine, right? Without a VPC and without the subnet, you cannot launch any of the virtual machine actually. Am I clear, sir? Right. Now the question comes to you that Rajesh, fine, I got it now. Okay, I got it now that every region, right, it has its own VPC. Yeah, that we got it. Every region has its own VPC. So now the question comes, do I have to always use this VPC? No, you need not to use your VPC, always this VPC. This is a default VPC is provided by your AWS. Okay, just for you to do some kind of testing purpose, create the virtual machine and all, right? You will be using this VPC. This is a very smaller VPC, right? And it can accommodate only few devices, or you can even create some few subnets only. For example, when you are working in the real time, when you are deploying or when you are setting up for some kind of enterprise application, like for example, Swiggy or Zomato or some big application, you cannot use this default VPC. You have to create your own VPC actually. So creating a VPC, how and all, you could see that there's a option here. When you click on create VPC, you'll be able to create a VPC. We will come across shortly about this, how to create a VPC and all, right? You can create a VPC, right? Now the thing is that actually, okay, fine. So for example, if I want to delete the VPC, I want to suppose these are default VPC. I don't want it. I don't want the VPC. Then what to do? No problem. You can go and delete this VPC. So you can just select this, and you can just go for the action. And here you could see that there is something like a delete VPC. So you have to make sure that this VPC is not being used by any of the other resources. Like assume that already there's a virtual machine which is using this VPC. Okay, if that virtual machine is up and running, you cannot delete that VPC. If you try to delete it, it will not allow it to delete the VPC. Right. So this virtual VPC should not be used by any of the resources. It means that then you can delete that VPC. Right. For example, I don't want to really delete there. Okay, I'll go to some other region. Like for example, I'll go to some region, Paris region, something. I'll go. Okay, I'll go to the VPC. Right here also you could see that under Paris it has its own VPC. Right. So I can go here, click on it. I can go and I can action under the action delete VPC. It'll ask you for the confirmation, say that these are the subnet and this is the internet gateway which is associated with that VPC. Do you want to delete all the things? So it'll also delete even all these four resources also it's saying. Okay, I acknowledge it. Yeah, I want to delete it. So here it says the type default VPC. Just copy this like till here and delete it. Now you could see that guys, you have deleted your default VPC. Okay, if you don't want, you can delete it. Or else suppose you say, no, I want to regain back my default VPC, right? How to do it? You see that under the action, you could see that create default VPC. Click on this and create the default VPC. It will take around some few, yeah, it is already, now it has created a default VPC. Am I clear, sir? Right? So you can delete the VPC and also you can recreate the same VPC, default VPC whenever you. But as I said, in the real time, we don't use the default VPC at all because whenever we are deploying application, it will be in a kind of an enterprise application. For that, we need a VPC with a larger configuration and everything, right? So we will try to create based on the customer requirement, based on the project architecture. We will choose to create a VPC, and then like we will try to create a lot of subnets. You're going to create a security groups, the route table, add on all kind of rules in the route. So many things we are going to do it actually when you're setting your own VPC. Am I clear, sir? Right? Right? Now, yeah, good. Now the thing is that actually, so I mean, let us see one more time. Like suppose you say that Rajesh, I want to delete this VPC. No problem. You can go and you can delete this VPC as we discussed. We can go and delete this VPC like this. So you are under Paris region, right? So I'm deleting all this default VPC. Right. Once you're deleting a VPC, now you say that, Rajesh, I want to create an instance here, EC2 instance. So you can go to the EC2 instance under your same Europe Paris region, right? Here you can go and launch instance, right? Here you can give something, server one, something like that. You can come and select some AMI ID and instance type you can select, key pair, you can go with, or you can create some new key pair. And after that, you could see that here under the network settings, see, there are no networks available. You could see even subnet is not there. Nothing is there. If you launch the instance, it will throw error saying that, see, key pair is required. And you see, VPC is also required, subnet is also required. Also, auto ISN. Suppose assume that I'll say enable, right? And I'll launch instance. See, but still it needs these parameters. It needs a VPC, it needs a sub. Without this VPC and subnet, you cannot launch the instance at all. Am I clear, sir? Now, that's what I said, like here, like these two users, Naresh and Suresh, right? They created their own virtual machine under their own VPC. Right. And this VPC to VPC, you cannot do a direct communication. Hence, what happened that these two virtual machine, they cannot ping each other because this VPC itself, they're not able to connect to each other. So, hence, these two machines cannot be communicated at all, even though they are from the same physical host. They are from the same where they have been created under the same region, under the same physical host. They have been created, yet they'll not be able to they'll not be able to communicate each other. It is something like, for example, guys, like if I want to give an example, like analogy, like for example, we are under the Mumbai APF and South one, right? If you go to the Mumbai city, you know that Mumbai city has its own taxis, has its own metro station, has its own metro. There are many public transports are available, right? All the Mumbaians, Mumbai people, whoever want to use it, they use all those taxis, or like, or the metros or something, which is a public transport. Everyone can make use of it, right? But suppose assume that each and every individual a Mumbai person, if he want to maintain his own private life, so what happened that he will try to buy, he is going to purchase a house actually, right? When he purchases out, that is nothing but his isolated area. That is his area where what happened, right? Whatever he want to do, anything privately, he will come inside the home and he can do whatever whatever his private life is there, right? So whenever you want to maintain any kind of a privacy, you need some kind of a boundary or the area where you can do your private work, right? When you go to the public, you have to follow the public rule only, right? Because transportation, all are public related stuff, all should follow a disciplined way of using the public transport. But whenever you want to live your own life, you come across within your home boundary, there you will start living, and you will have your own rule of doing it. Like for example, own rule means you will set up the rules saying that who should come inside my home, who should not enter into my home. Like that kind of a rule you can set it, right, in home, right? Right. So whatever the private communication you can do within your home itself. It's something like that. When you create a VPC, VPC is something where you are creating your own private network. And whatever the communication you want to do, what are the different resources you want to create within this VPC, you can do everything within your VPC actually. Right? So that's how we can create a VPC, and within a VPC we can set up the whole thing actually. Now, whenever we want to create the VPC, right? Whenever we want to create a VPC, so whenever you want to create a VPC, guys, VPC needs there are some dependencies are there while creating VPC. What are those dependencies? For example, first I want to create a VPC. Yeah, I will create a VPC. Okay. So what what this create will do? It will create a, or I can say it will set up the, what is it? Secure cloud network, right? Along with that, what happened, right? You need, while creating a VPC, what you have to do is you have to provide a CIDR IP address range you have to give actually. Right, that is the second point. And the third point is that after setting up the IPv CIDR IPv4 address range actually, right? After that, what happened? You need to create a subnets actually. Subnet is something like where you are partitioning the VPC IP can say segments actually, like this. Okay, we create the subnets, and fourth is something like we will create an internet gateway, right? We call it as IGW. So what the internet gateway do, it will try to create a bridge actually. It will try to create a bridge between the VPC. It'll try to create a bridge to VPC. Sorry, what is it? Bridge to bridge from VPC to the internet actually. Oh, right? And finally, what you have to do that you have to create a route tables. Okay. So what it'll do that it'll direct the VPC traffic flow. So guys, whenever we are creating a VPC, these are the 5 important things we have to always configure it. So while creating a VPC, like after creating VPC, while creating it, we try to give a CEDAR range for that. And after that, we try to create subnets. We'll try to attach an internet gateway to our VPC. And finally, creating a route table and doing a route table association. So once you achieve all these things, it means that your system is ready, the whole VPC is ready. Now you can launch the instances or launch the resource or instances, and that instances it can be created under new VPC. Am I clear, sir? So now what we have to do is, guys, as part of our learning, we have to start creating a VPC, right, based on a requirement and play around the creating a VPC and create your own VPC for your project requirement, and then create all the subnets, internet gateway, route table, all those things we have to learn step by step actually, right? So shall we see how to create a VPC now? Right? It's a very simple task actually. So we'll go back here and let me close this, and I'm under the Asia Pacific, so I let it be under the Mumbai region itself. So I'll go to the VPC, do a right click, right? And here you could see that it has some default VPC, right? You can click on the default. This is a default VPC. If you want, here what happened guys, there is a tag is there. Right now what happened, by default, they don't give any kind of a tag. If you want it, you can set a tag. So you can set it like that, and you can just give for your convention, you can just say default VPC, something for your convenience, you can give that actually. So that when you come up with this tab, right, you will get to know that okay, Rajesh, this is the default VPC. Okay, I need not to touch about this, or it is not really required for our project requirement. But anyhow, this default VPC is there actually. If you want, as I discussed, we can even delete also, or else we can keep it as it is. Now, whenever I want to create any new VPC, like for example, I have to just go and click on the create VPC. Right? So there is something like a VPC only, and there is something like a VPC and more. We will try to discuss about what is VPC and more later. Right now, I am only concentrating on creating a VPC. Okay, so I'll go with the VPC. After that, if you have to give some name, right? So you can give your own name actually, like something like can say corporate VPC, something. You can give any of the name, right, based on your requirement. And after that, here what happened, you are choosing the IPv4 CDR manual, right? Now here what happened, guys, you have to give a IP CDR range. What IP CDR range you are going to give it actually, or which is the class of IP4 CDR range which you are going to give it actually. So if you try to check it out, guys, the private IP CDR range, like what are the 3 private IP CDR range? One is nothing but your class A. Okay, and we have discussed all these things. It starts from 10.0.0
That's
to
it.
what is it? 10.255.255.255. Right, right, and it is nothing but it is for your serial notification. It is /8 we give, right? So second one is a class B. So you have to choose any within any one of this private range actually, right? So it is 172 dot what is it? Dot 16 dot 0.0 to 172.31.255.255. This is /16. And the last is class C. And the class is 192.168.0.0 to 192.168 dot what is it 255.255/24. Now, so we know that guys actually this is nothing but whatever this notification we are seeing, right? This is nothing but your what is that? This is capital N, right? We already discussed in last session, right? Capital N is what? Number of consecutive ones, right? Right. So number of consecutive ones. So if it is 8 means Okay, there are 8 ones are there, rest all are zeros. For example, if you are considering this one, right here, what happened? There are 8 ones are there. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 8 ones are there, rest all other are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 dot 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 dot like this, right? So this is nothing but your n is nothing but the capital N is 8, okay, right? And small n is how much? How much? 26, huh? Yeah.
24.
24, sorry, 24, right? So it means that actually that you can have this is fixed, and this is nothing but your small n. It means that you can able to create many of the IP addresses actually. So whenever you are creating a very large number of devices, you want to connect it in your company, okay, you can go with this class A IP address, right? Suppose you are trying to create some midway of you need not to have many, but you need to have a moderate way of creating number of devices, right? Then you will go with the class B. So class B you can select up to, I think, 65,535 number of devices can be connected, right? For that reason, in the midway you choose with the class B IP address, right? For the class C, something like where you want to create very less number of devices, like for example you want to connect something 254 devices you want to connect it, right? At that time, what happened? You will go with the class C IP address, right? So based on the number of devices what you connect, right, you will choose either class A, class B, or class C. So you would have seen in your organization, you will be using either class A IP address or class C IP address, right? Sometimes you have seen class B also. I'm just saying this is the most widely used because you will use a very large network, and no, you will try to do a subnet, and you will be using this the complete network, everything within your organization, right? For the internal communication, we use this all these private IP addresses, right? So let me choose it actually. So here what happened, guys, when you're giving it, you cannot give any kind of a public IP address. You cannot say that, okay, I want all the public IP address for that, right? Because it will be too expensive. So hence what happened, that even though you are creating a VPC, we will go with the private IP address, because private IP address are free of cost actually. We need not to pay it actually, right? For our internal communication, we have to use a private IP address only, not physical, not physical IP addresses, right? So now what I will do, that basically you will say that, Rajesh, fine, I will go with the class C IP address. Like this is what I will go with this, because I want very less devices, right? I don't want to really go with high. So what I will do, that I will just say 192.168.0.0/24, right? This is what the IPv6 range you are going to give. Come here, don't worry about all these things. Yeah,
Sir,
yeah,
CDIR totally depends upon how much machine we are going to communicate, means how much machine we are going to make. Depend on
right.
that now.
Yes, yes, right, right.
Okay, so first, uh, right now we are not aware how much machine we are going. That's why we will take some extra IP so that in future, if we extend some VM, then we can use in that. Is
Right.
it?
Like for example, here, as per our requirement, I know that in my VPC, I might not connect more than 100 device.
Okay.
So in that case, what
Mhm.
happened? 256 will be a larger number, big,
Yeah, 256,
yeah,
255 machine,
yeah,
254
255.
both
Yeah,
we
sorry,
can
not
use in the class C IP. Yes.
right. So I'll go with that. I know that we are setting up the big network in our company. There are so many devices are there. Like for example, you are having internal printers will be there. You'll be having multiple division within. There is one division in Bangalore. There's one division in Hyderabad. There's one division. Like you need to choose a large network, right? So in that case, you will go with the other class of IP addresses. You know that there are so many users are there, right? Because for every user, for every device in the network, right, it has to be allocated some private IP address. So in that case, what happen? You will go with the larger. So you will go either with the class B or class A IP address.
Okay, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Now, if you come here, your VPC encryption control is there. This is a new thing, guys. I will discuss about this later, not now. Okay, right here I'll go with a none, and by default it is taking this tag only, so nothing to be worried. I don't have to add any other new tag. I'll go with the same tag in my corp VPC. I'll just go and try to click on create VPC. So now you could see that, guys. You are, as soon as you created it, you got the VPC ID. This is a VPC ID which got generated, right? Right, and this is not but your VPC name. So this is the first thing you have checked. It means that, Rajesh, according to it, yeah, you created this VPC. Very good, I created this VPC. Now the question comes that, Rajesh, I want to create a I have chosen the CAD range, which is 192 dot. That is also done. The second is that actually that I want to I want allocate. The third is that I want to create a subnet actually. Right. Now, what is a subnet actually? Right. So basically what happened, right, guys, here, if you consider the diagram here, if I open the diagram, or else I can go with the existing only. I can go with this, right? Yeah, I can go with this. Now you could see that actually, guys, like you have created your VPC under the Mumbai region actually, right? And there are three availability zones are there: APF and South F and 1A, 1B and 1C, right? Correct. Now the thing is that, you created a VPC here actually. What is the VPC name you are given? My Corp VPC. And the shared range what you're given is 192.168.0.0/24. Am I clear, sir? This is the VPC you have created, your own VPC under this region. There's a default VPC. Along with that, you are creating your own VPC actually, right? Correct, guys. Now the thing is that now you might ask Rajesh, if I have created a VPC, with the VPC can I launch the machine? No, sir, you cannot launch the machine. Suppose, for example, if you go here, like you will go here, this is your EC2 instance. Okay, if you click on launch instances, see, I'll give some name, server one. Just see, guys, server one. These are all basic things, guys. We have to understand all this very clearly. We have to understand it. That's what I'm saying. I'll go to instance type. I will select the key, something. And I have got some VPC now, right? This is the default VPC. Or let me edit the VPC. Let me not to go with this default one. Let me choose the my corp VPC, right? And here you could see that, see, there are no subnets are there. There are no subnets are still subnets are not created. Can I go and launch the instance? See, you cannot launch the instance. Now assume that I launch the instance. See, without the subnet, you cannot launch the instance because ultimately what happened, your virtual machine will be created under some subnet actually. That's what subnet should be there. Along with the VPC, subnet should also be there. Is it clear, sir? Correct, guys?
Yes, yes.
Right, very good. Now, right? Now what happened, right? Like Rajesh, now I have to create a VPC. Yes. Now you have to go back here and you could see that here you have something as a subnet. So guys, one thing you have to make it, one thing what you're observing that, like I am under the different dashboard, which is called as a VPC. Under VPC, this is a VPC dashboard.
Rajesh,
Yeah.
mostly VPC will be created under private network only, right?
Obviously, no, sir. You have to use. Can you use a public? Can you create Can you assign for every device, every machine? Can you give a private public IP? You can't give, right? You
No, no.
have to go with the.
Yes.
Yeah. And even what happened, right? Even though you have a shared range for public IP, if you take a shared range, you have to go and talk to the INR organization saying that no, I need a range. Okay, I want to reset. You say
Yes.
that okay, I need some 100 IP address consecutive. I want to be blocked actually for my requirement. For every device, you'll get on public IP, right? So it will be very
Yes.
expensive, right? So we don't go with that. We always go with the private IP address only, right? Now here, after this, what happened, right, is here you could see that what I'm saying here, that I am under the VPC dashboard. If you come down, sir, whatever the services related to the VPC are there, everything will be here, sir. Like for example, subnet is there, route table, internet gateway, ingress only internet gateway, DSCP option set, elastic IP, NAT gateway, peering connection, see, security, private link and lattice. Come down, DNS firewall. This is a new thing which has come. I'll be covering that one. Network firewalls. See, VPN, virtual private network, like AWS verified access, transit gateway, traffic mirroring. This is what is called the mirroring. See, all these things have to be covered, sir, for you to complete the whole VPC or you to complete for the whole VPC networking stuff. I need to cover all these services actually. So this will take around 10 to 12 sessions to complete all these things actually. Am I clear, sir? So now here, go back here. You said that Rajesh, now I got a VPC. I want to create a subnet. Yes, sir. You have to create a subnet. You have to go and click on the subnet. Right? If you click on a subnet, already some subnet is there. We know that this is for the default subnet actually, default VPC. These are the default subnets are created. I want to create my own new subnet for my new VPC. Right? You click on the create subnet. Right? And here you select your VPC. You could see that my core VPC. This is a VPC you have to under this. Or else you can go and copy the VPC like this. I want to go and copy the VPC. You could see that there's a VPC ID. Go and copy this VPC like this. VPC ID and go to the subnet and just click on here, just enter it like this. So this is the VPC. Under this, there are no subnets are there. So create the VPC under this. Okay, create the VPC under this corp like this. Am I clear, sir? So now here you could see that, guys, actually you are creating and this is a VPC and this is a shared range for your VPC. Right? Correct, guys? Now, if you have to understand very carefully, guys, it is 24. 24 means actually this is not but consecutive ones. So it means that 192.168.0 dot. This is fixed actually. And this is the last bit is nothing but it is either 11 or 000 or 111. So the value will be from 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.0.255, right? So it means that you can have up to 255 devices you can connect with this CAD range. Right? Now, come down. If you come down, here it is asking you to create the subnet. Okay, I will give some name, something like I'll give subnet 1. Okay, it is asking you to choose an available zone for creating subnet. Let me do one thing. Let me choose the AP-South-1. This is a available zone which I'm selecting it out. Right? Now, what okay, now what is this IPv4 CAD range? Okay, this is what the IPv4 range for the VPC which I created. The same thing it is showing. Okay, this is IPv4 VPC CAD range block is there. Right. Now here what is saying that here is asking you to give the IPv4 subnet CAD block range it is asking you to give. Am I clear, sir? So it is what is it asking? It is asking you to give IPv4. So now here the thing is that whatever this range is there, right? I have to give in that range only. I cannot choose any other CDR range, right? Like for
Rajesh,
example,
one small doubt.
yes, sir.
So here, /24 means we can use only 255 IPs only, right?
Right.
Continuous IPs.
Yes.
So VPC range should be 192.168./16, right?
Sir,
So
here
that
I'm, yeah,
255 into 255.
correct, sir. Now, as according to here, I'm going with this.
Class C. Okay.
It is 24.
Okay.
Okay, I'm choosing this one. That class C means this is what the range.
So the subnet should be within that range, within that
Yes.
255 IPs.
Yes, yes. Right. Now, so yeah. So now what I'm trying to do here, Krishna, like for example here, what I'm trying to tell that actually that I want to be under the same range. Well, when I'm giving IP4 subnet shader block, I can't be in some other, right? I can't give 10.0, right? If I try to go and create it, it will throw error saying the shader is not within shader range of VPC, right? You have to be under the same thing actually. So what I will do, I will try to give the same under the same range actually 192.168.0.0/24. Am I clear, sir? So it means that when I'm creating the subnet, it is actually getting a 256 IPs. Right? Now,
Sir, I have one question.
hmm,
Suppose that we have selected one block here. Again, we can do the subnetting in this IP.
yeah, we will see now what is a problem statement. With this, we will see now what is a problem statement.
Okay, okay, got it.
Right?
Thank you.
Now, if you go and if you try to do a create, you could see that now you're creating one subnet. So where the subnet got created here, according to the diagram, the subnet got created here actually. Correct, sir? The subnet got created here. Now the question comes, Rajesh, whether this subnet, what are the subnet is that you created here, right? Right. Whether the subnet is a part of only this available zone or can we expand till here? Means including all the regions. So I am creating here, no doubt, but I'm saying that, okay, this subnet is part of the same region itself. You cannot expand this subnet to the other regions like APF and South F 1B, 1C. Now you're going to say that, Rajesh, why you're confusing us? We know that subnet will be always be a part of your availability zone only. You cannot expand it. You will say, you cannot expand it. It should be a part of the same network only, right? Or the same availability zone, right? You cannot expand it. Right? That is wrong. What you're saying is wrong. Yes, sir. Whatever you're saying is also right. But the thing is that actually that in case of Azure, what happened when you're creating a subnet, you can create a subnet where you can create a subnet across all the including all the regions. Sorry, include all the availability zone in case of Azure. Whereas a limitation in the AWS is that actually that you can only create a subnet within your availability zone. You cannot expand it to other regions. Expanding your subnet to other region is not possible in AWS, whereas in Azure you can expand up to the all the availability zone. You can expand it actually. Is it fine, sir? Did you understood what I said? This is the difference is between
Yes.
the Azure and AWS. AWS you can create a subnet within a particular availability zone. You cannot expand to other availability zone, but whereas in Azure you can expand it. Right? Come back here. Okay, Rajesh. This is what I created. Very good, sir. Now, what is the subnet name you give? Rajesh, this is the subnet name I give actually. What is subnet one? Subnet 1 is a given and it is 192.168.0.0/1. This is what the subnet shader you have given it while creating it actually. Right, sir? Now you will say that Rajesh, now I created it. Can I launch instance? Yes, sir. You can go and launch instance now. You could see that now. I'll refresh it. Right. Now you could see that. See, you got the subnet. You can go and launch instance. Now it will support launching the instance. So you got the VPC, it got a subnet. Now you launch it, it'll launch it actually. Am I clear, sir? I'm not launching, I'm just saying you that with this two piece of information, now you can able to create the VM instance now. Right? So what you did that, I didn't click on it. I'm just saying you that here what happened, you will go here, you will say that Rajesh, let me create the EC2 instance here. You created the EC2 instance here actually. Is it fine, sir? You created EC2 instance under your subnet actually. So, okay, fine, very good. My manager came and he said, Rajesh, you created this VPC, very good. My core VPC, very good. You created a subnet, very good. You launched the instance also, I'm very happy. Now, my manager will come and say that, assume that this APF and South FM 1A goes down. What will going to happen with my EC2 instance? This will also go down, right? Will not be available, right? If the region itself will go down, or sorry, if the availability zone itself will go down, what about my EC2 instance? It will also go down. Now I need to create a backup of it. You will say that no problem, go and create a subnet in one more region like this. You have to create one more subnet in the region actually. Right? A new subnet in the other region. There you go and you launch an instance, a new instance. This EC2 instance, this will be kind of a backup for this. It means that if this region, sorry, if this availability zone goes on, at least this is available, right? So this is what the new requirement he will tell you now. Okay, create a subnet even in the other availability zone. Here also you create, here also you create, so that you will have a redundancy, you will have a resilience actually. Is it fine, sir? Now the question comes that, okay, now the question comes that, Rajesh, can I go and create a VPC? Sorry, can I go and create a subnet here? Why I'm saying because if you go here, this subnet, what are the subnet you have, right? This subnet, whatever the range you have given, right? The range what you have given, it is 192.168.0.24. So when you're creating a VPC, you created a VPC under the CADR block of 192.168.0. What is it? 0.24. And you created one subnet and you gave the entire you created the entire subnet using this entire IP address, whatever it is being provided by your VPC CADR, right? So it means that Rajesh, is there anything that I can create a new subnet? In this case, you cannot create a new subnet, right? Can you create a new subnet, guys? You cannot create a new subnet at all, right? Because the entire subnet, what happened, the entire CADR you have allocated to a single subnet only. Now it's something like how I have to do now basically. Like for example, I want to go and I want to create a new subnet now. Is it possible? No, you can't create it. You can't create it because you already given it. Okay, it is something like if I want to give a analogy or example, assume that like I'm having two children actually, right? So what happened? When I came back to the office, like my two children, my son name is Yash and my daughter name is Pihu, right? Now assume that actually when I come back from office, right, I enter home, I bought only one chocolate. Now the thing is that Yash was sitting in front of me and nobody was there. Like I just gave the chocolate to him actually, right? So he was very happy to receive the chocolate. Now suddenly what happened within some 30 seconds, Pew came from school. She's also entering into the home actually. So she saw that I have already given a chocolate to Yash actually. So Pew, what she'll do? What she'll going to do? She'll start crying. She said, "I need a chocolate now." So how I can give a chocolate to her? So there are two possibilities are there actually. Either I can go to the market, go to the shop near shop, get a new chocolate to her, so that she'll also be happy, right? And or either what happened, I have to take back the chocolate from Yash and I have to say that okay, you please share between both of you, right? So I cannot get any new chocolate. Now you both share off. So they have to share it between them so that they can eat half of the chocolates actually. These are the only two possibility solutions are there, right? It's the same thing like that actually. Like for example, here what happened, I have given a shader range for your VPC as this one, and I created one subnet and I gave the entire range actually. Okay. Okay. So now the thing is that, okay, you will say that Rajesh, I'll go with the first solution. What is it? You go to the shop, get a new chocolate for your daughter actually. Yeah, that's also correct only, no? That's correct only, right? So for example, if I go here, like for example, if I go to the subnet, right here is the subnet. I'll try to create one more subnet. Create the subnet. I will select the VPC, the same VPC. Okay. And here I'll just say subnet 2, right? And availability zone is something like APF and South FM 1B. And this is a CID range. Right. Here I will give one thing. The same CID range I'll give 192.168 .0.0 slash 24 I'll give. Right. But this has already been given for your subnet one, right? Can you go and create it? See, it's overlapping with the existing CIDR range. See, you cannot give it out. It means that the whole CIDR range, whatever you are allowed for the subnet one, right? You cannot reuse it for the subnet two. Correct, guys? Did you understood the problem statement here?
Yes.
Right. Now,
Rajesh,
how you're
we
going to
can
solve the
we
problem?
we can share some of the IPs, right?
Yeah, yeah, we can. That's the second. That's what first idea is that go to the market. I need to get one chocolate. New
Mm,
chocolate. That is the first solution. Okay. That also
yes.
works out. Or else what happened? Like take the whole net, take this, take subnet because there are 256 IP addresses are there. Rajesh, can I divide half of the IP to the subnet one, half of the IP to the subnet two? Yeah, I can do that also.
Yeah, okay.
These are the two solutions. That's all. No other. There is no third solution. Okay, let me see the first solution how it is actually. Right. So now what happened? Right. I will try to go to the subnet. Right? And if you go to the subnet, we know that Rajesh, the subnet is created. Where it is created, Rajesh? It is created under your APF and South FN 1A. Okay. How many IP addresses have been available for the subnet? Can you see there are 251 IP addresses available? Okay. You might ask Rajesh, what about the 251? Only 251 are available. Okay, but it has to get 254, right? Like, what about 250? Three IP addresses they will remove, guys. Whenever you are choosing IPv, any shader range, right? What AWS will do that the first three IP address they will not consider it because they're not allocated because 192.1c.0.1, right? It will be considered as a gateway. For that, it will not be used. The second is 192.1c.0.2. It will be used for the DNS. And the third 192.168.0.3, it will be used for some other external purpose. So always what happened, the first three IP addresses AWS will not use for allocating to the for the devices for the virtual machines. It will always start from 192.168.0.4 onwards. It will start. Actually. That's what it is showing 251 actually. So 254 minus 3 is 251. Always. Three IP addresses will not be allocated. The first three IP addresses. Right? So now here, if you see it, Rajesh, it is already using it actually for the APF and South FN 1A. Okay, good, very good. Okay, right. Now the first question is that Rajesh, you do one thing. You go to your VPC and then like you go to the VPC. Yes. Okay. Okay. I'm under the VPC now. You can have an action. Under the action, where is it? Edit shader range. Yeah, edit shader range. See, click on it, edit shader range. Yeah. So Rajesh, here you are having, this is what the shader range you are having. So can I add one more shader range? Yeah, you can add it. So add the IPv4 shader range. What is it? 192.168.1.0 slash 24. Correct, sir? Right? Save it. See, You got one CAD range. So can I use this CAD range for creating a new second subnet? Yeah, you can use now this CAD range. Am I clear, sir? Now, if you go back to the diagram, you will say that Rajesh, you are having a 192.168.0 dot slash 24, and now one more added now. What is that? 192.168 dot 1.0 slash 24. Right? So it means that Rajesh, can I use this 192.168.0.124 for creating a subnet under the second available zone, that is APFN South of 1B? Yes, we can do it actually. Can I have one more IPv4 shared range under the VPC to create here under the one South C? Yes, you can have it like that. So it means that it's something like you're getting a new chocolates for it. For example, in your home, some three children came actually, right? You need to give it. Sorry, along with the Pihu and Yash, one more kid came actually. So I even have to get a chocolate for her also, right? New baby, right? Who came, right? So what I have to do? I have to go to the shop, get three chocolates, divide among these three people actually, or give to these three people, something like that. You have to give it. Now the problem is that, like in the long run way, now the question will come, Rajesh. Okay, you understood, but how many IP4 range you can set it for under your VPC? How many you can set? You can only set up to 5. Beyond that, you cannot set it actually. Like for example, if you see here, if I go here, add IPv4, see 192.168.0.2, 3, 4 happened, right? 5. See, there are 5 are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I have a sixth one? Let's see whether it will allow or not. See, it will not allow it at all. It means that you can have only IP for 5 CAD range you can have. You cannot go more than that actually. This is a limitation for your under your VPC. You cannot go with beyond 5. So it means that Rajesh, suppose assume that there are some regions are there, like Northern Virginia region, like this, North Virginia, where there are 6 availability zones are there. In that case, what happened? If I'm going with the first plan, what happened that you can only give an IP address for subnet everything only to the 5 free availability zone. Sixth, you cannot give it because there is a VPC limitation is there. VPC CAD limitation is there. So whether this plan would work out or if this plan might work out, you know that actually in your region, okay, there are only 2 or 3 or below 5 availability zones are there. If your region is having more than 5 or 6 availability zones are there, right? Then in that case, you cannot go with this plan. Am I clear, sir? So it means that when you are designing the VPC network, when you design the whole, you need to even consider this point also. Correct, sir? Okay. Now, okay, let me remove all these things. I don't need it. Okay. You'll say that Rajesh, this one I have. Yeah, no problem. Okay, I'll close it. Now what I'll do that I'll go to the subnet and I'll create one subnet, select the VPC. You could see that I'll go to the vcorp VPC. Here it shows that these are the two CAD ranges are there, IP4, right? So one you already utilized. The second one you can choose it. So you can go with something like subnet 1 or subnet 2, sorry. Go to the availability zone. You'll choose one South of 1B and come over here, select 192.1.1.24. Yeah, select this. Now you can go with this 192. Your subnet shade array 192.168.1.0/24. Okay. You can go and create it like this. Am I clear, sir? So there are two subnets are there now. Subnet 1 and subnet 2. Is it fine, sir? Okay. Now the question is that okay, fine, I got it now. Like, but there is a limitation as we saw that you cannot have more than 5 IP4 CDR. You cannot use it actually because that is a limitation in your AWS. You cannot go beyond that actually. But there are many cases are there where we need more than 5 actually. In that case, this will not work out. This plan will not work out actually. Then what you're going to do? You will say that okay, Rajesh, let me do one thing. Let me try to delete this subnet 2. I don't want it. Let me delete it. I'll go and I'll try to go and delete the subnet. I don't want this. Okay. right? You have only one subnet now, right? Now what you will do that, okay. Now the thing is that Rajesh, I want to create one more subnet. Yeah, according to my manager, he want to create one more subnet here, right? So how to do that actually? So you will say that actually that you whatever the IPv4 shared range what you are given for the subnet, right? Okay. Either what you have to do that the first plan is that okay, you say that Rajesh, I want a bigger range. I don't want the smaller range. Then what I will say that go and delete the subnet one and go and delete that VPC. Create a new VPC with choosing either class B or class A IP address, and then you can you can even fix your problem actually. You can create as many subnets what you want because you will be doing you can you will be using a larger CAD range, right? So in that case what happen, you will get more IP address and you can use the subnetting things to divide and create different subnets based on your requirement. You can do that way. Or else what happened, you will say that okay, no, I want to go with this plan only, like how whatever it is there, right? I have to go in this plan only. So what you can, as I said earlier, like whatever the IPv range which is given for your VPC, right? Right, whatever 192.168.0.0 slash CDA range, right? So you can able to divide it actually. You can able to divide this the complete CDA range into two subnets actually. Am I clear, sir? You can able to divide under the two subnets. How to do that actually? So you can go with something known as a you have some tools available, guys, actually, which is nothing but it is what is it actually? If you go to the Google and what is it? Advanced subnetting calculator. What is it? Advanced subnet calculator. Let's see. Yeah, IPv4. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, this is something. So you say that actually that how many subnets I need? I need two subnets actually. I need two subnets. Okay. And the IP4 address is 192.168.0.0. Okay. Slash 24. And this is what the subnet mask is. I need a two subnets actually. Right. So per subnet you're going to get 126 devices actually. Right. 126 IP address you're going to get. So now what is the range? You could see that for your the subnet what you have to give is 192.168.0.025/25, right? You have to give like that, and then you could see that the starting IP address is 192.168.0.1 and the ending is 192.168.0.126 like that. And this will be the network ID and this will be a broadcast IP address. And the second is you have to say give the subnet as 192.168.0.128/25. So here you could see that it starts with the IP address 192.168.0.129 up to 254. Like this, you can use some advanced calculator you to give the IP4 shared range and the number of subnet how much you need, right? Based on that, it will just give you all the subnets what you need, right? So while creating the first subnet one, you have to give this you have to give the subnet in this range. You have to give it actually like this. Similarly, for the second subnet, you have to give this range. Am I clear, sir? Is it fine, sir? So now what happened, Rajesh? Now what I have to do that? Okay, now I understood. Now I will do one thing. I will go back here to my subnet. So let me first remove the subnet. So I'll click on it. I will go and I'll try to delete the subnet. Subnet one also I'm going to delete it actually because it was occupying the entire IP range, right? So I deleted it. Now what I will do that I will go and create the subnet. So I'll create under this my core VPC and I'll give something like a subnet one, right? I want to create under the APFN South FN1A, right? Now, for example, if you try to give here 192.170.24, right? And you could see that actually if you are giving the same like 192.168.0.0/24, sorry, slash 24, you could see that there are 256 IP addresses are there, right? Now, if you click on here, see, or else, see, you want to reduce it, see, you have to give one IP, 128 IPs you have to give me. See, the subnet mask will be 192.168.0.0/25, right? Like this. Am I clear, sir? So now what I will do that, Rajesh, this is the your entire CAD range, VPC CAD range. I need to give the subnet as 192.168.0.25. Right? Correct, sir? 25. Come down here and create a subnet. So this is one subnet. Create one more subnet. Correct, sir? Create one more subnet. Come here and then go and create a subnet 2. What is it actually? API file south of 1B, 192.168.0.24. Yeah, but here, according to our, here you could see that it starts with the 192.168.0.128/25. See, 0 dot, what is that? 192.168.0 dot, sorry, 0.128/25. See, you got 128. Am I clear, sir? Now come here and you create the second subnet. Is it fine, sir? So with this, you created two subnet. Now, if you try to say that, Rajesh, can I have one more subnet that is in the range in this third region, in this third availability zone? No, sir, you cannot create. Only two subnets only are created. Okay, you will say that, okay, fine. I can manage all my work within these two subnets, within these two availability zones. Okay, fine. For my project, I don't need the third availability zone at all. Only two is sufficient. Yes, you can work with this plan and you can go and you can create these two subnets like this. Am I clear, sir? So now what happened, guys? Like we literally divided this the CAD into two subnets, right? Subnet 1 and subnet 2, and we, with the help of the special calculator, we were able to do it actually, right? The same thing, like when you are trying to create a larger network, we create the subnets, everything with the help of this special calculator only. We will try to, which is not but advanced subnet calculator we use, right? We use this and we try to create as many subnets what you require actually. And there will not be any kind of a single wasted of IP address here. Right, sir? So now the thing is that according to our notes, guys, we created these two. This subnet is created. The internet gateway and the route table, we need to configure, we need to create it. Okay. So now I think we will not be able to, we can stop it today because it's already like we have took more than 1.5 hour class. So what we're going to do, we're going to continue from tomorrow from here itself. Okay. So now what you have to do is ultimately I need to create the VPC and whatever the other requirement, like for example, internet gateway, route tables and all, we need to create all these things so that when we are creating our virtual machine or we are creating a resource, you can able to like when you can able to log into that virtual machine and you can able to communicate with that. It means that if your virtual machine want to communicate with the outside world, right, or else you want to log into the virtual machine, right, all those things, for all such things you need the internet gateway, you need the route table and all other things, NACL, service, security group, all such things are required. So we will be continuing from here onwards. So what would be our next topic? Tomorrow's class is that next class. Continue from internet gateway, IGW we call. Okay, and also understand from the high level architecture how VPC looks like and what are all the other services which comes under VPC, right? Once we do that, actually, then what happened, right? We will create two VPCs and we will try to communicate between these two VPCs. Between two VPCs, we will try to communicate, right? So we can do either with the VPC peering, we can able to do a communication between two VPCs, or else we can communicate with the two VPCs with the help of some gateways actually, right? Like for example, you can even use a transit gateway to communicate, or there are multiple ways to create make a communication. But VPC peering is the most popular one, right? Which used to peer between two VPCs. Like what are the advantage of VPC peering? What are the disadvantage? Everything we are going to understand this. right? So this will be a quite interesting class, next class, where you will be learning many other networking components, right? And then like we will see like how to set up the whole VPC and how to launch the virtual machine and how we will be communicating between the virtual machine from one VPC to other VPC, right? And what are the advantage, disadvantages, and what are the other components are there, like VPC endpoints are there, VPC lattice is there, site to site VPN, site to site communication, right? And security groups are there, NACLs are there, right? What are ACLs we have to learn, security groups, so many components are there, guys. We have to go through one by one and try to understand everything. And finally, when we are trying to set up the whole VPC, you should be able to know how the flow happens actually, right? So this is something we just started now. Let's proceed in learning few other things, and then like we'll set up the entire VPC actually. So in tomorrow's session, we will try to create the entire VPC along with the other resources and try to launch the VM and try to check and verify whether you're able to log in or not. If you're able to log in, how we can make to communicate to the outside world. So there is something like we have something as a public IP. Public IP has to be assigned. What is a public subnet, private subnet? We all have to understand that one. And what is a NAT gateway, right? And how we can make any virtual machine within the private subnet or within a public subnet. All such things will be slowly will be learning one by one. Am I clear, sir? So guys, with this, I we'll be stopping today's session. Okay. Let me stop the recording.